Welcome to episode 106 of Sport SA Daily Diary. Today we turn to a young South African that's shining in the art of wushu. Good afternoon, Nerine. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you for joining us today on Sport SA Daily Diary. It's lovely to have you.
It's lovely to be here.
And it's lovely to explore a new sport for me, something that's very different. For listeners, you can see by the image behind me, you are a wushu athlete.
Yes.
So we'll get into that shortly, Nerine. But tell us about your early days growing up. Um, was it always the rhythmic sports you were interested in, or were you playing some of the traditional sports as well?
Not really. I did ballet and gymnastics when I was really little, but I didn't really enjoy school sports or team sports. So I started wushu when I was 9, and it was just a really good fit, and I've been doing it ever since.
And tell us, Nerine, how did you find wushu? Because it's not as if you go down to the local park and there they are in the park, kicking a ball. It's quite something different.
It is quite. So both my brothers started wushu because friends of theirs did it, and I was fairly adamant that they weren't going to start without me.
And wushu is a form of kung fu, but a non-contact sport.
Not exactly. So wushu and kung fu are synonymous. So then it's still broken down into a contact and non-contact version.
And you participate in the non-contact version.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about wushu as a sport. Obviously, for first-time listeners that haven't heard of the sport or haven't participated in it before, what exactly is it that you do?
So for the non-contact side, what we do is we perform routines that show different martial aspects, and then we're judged based on our performance. And then the contact version is contact sparring, where two people are on a platform, they spar, fight, and then score points and go through the rounds, and the winner is announced.
So you mentioned that you started at the age of 9 and that you started with your brothers. Um, how long did it take for you to realize that you were actually quite talented at this sport and that it could progress further?
So for the first few years, I didn't take it very seriously. It was just something fun to do. But in 2010, my older brother got his national colors, and I was very jealous of the fact that he got his colors because I knew I could just be as good as him. And so for the next 2 years, I trained really, really hard to prove that, I can do what he can do, and that I want my colors and I will work hard to get them.
A slight competitive streak amongst the family then.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Um, and that all happened. You finally got your colors. You went to the 2012 World Champs in China. Tell us a bit about
Yes.
that. That must have been an incredible experience for you.
Yes, it was an amazing experience. I didn't really realize what was happening until I got there, and the first day I competed, and you just saw the amount of athletes from all the different countries. It was such an amazing experience, and I didn't think I was going to do it as well as I did. So I went in just aiming to get experience and enjoy the event, but I actually ended up doing really well, which was great.
Tell us a bit about what does doing really well mean?
So I medaled in one event and I came second in the other weapon category, which was really exciting. I competed with the snake spear, which was really cool.
That's pretty impressive for a young South African girl to go over all the way to China and to medal in essentially what was your first major competition.
Yes, I didn't expect it at all. It was really awesome.
Tell us, Nerine, obviously it's traditionally a sport from the East. I presume it's not that way anymore. But is there a specific country or area where the strongest wushu athletes come from?
Well, I definitely say China and Russia and Ukraine have really strong athletes. but America and Brazil and the UK also have really good athletes. So it's definitely spread right across the world. It's not just localized to one area.
And when you're in competition, how are you actually judged?
So the judging is kind of split into three different categories. So you have a technical aspect, a difficulty aspect, and an overall look and feel. So the technical aspect, you accumulate deductions and based on mistakes that you make. Your difficulty is based on the difficulty movements that you do in the form, and then you'll get a particular score depending on what you do and how well you execute them. And then your overall look and feel is kind of like an artistic score that is based on the style that you're doing.
And following on from 2012, you went to the World Champs again in 2014 and 2017. How did you fare up in
Yes.
those competitions?
So in 2014, I placed fourth in both my categories. And then in 2017, I competed in three categories. So for my empty hand, I came third. For my group event, I also came third. And for my weapon, I placed fourth.
I see a couple of trophies there behind you. Tell us, what
Yes.
are those from?
So two of the trophies are for the best female athlete at the competition, and the other two were the first place winners at a festival that we competed at.
Well done. And locally, Nerine, how do you fare amongst the rest of the ladies in South Africa?
So fairly well. I rank top 3 in the country.
And you just recently progressed to the senior level. Previously, 2012 and 2014, you've been with the juniors, I believe.
Yes. So 2017 was my first year as a senior.
Okay. And was the level significantly higher to what you'd been used to with the juniors?
Definitely. It was very different. Everyone just kind of stepped up a level, but I think because we worked at it progressively, it wasn't a huge shock to the system. It was different but manageable.
And there was supposed to be a World Champs this year, 2020, but COVID has put a halt to that. Has it been outrightly cancelled, or is it just postponed with a view of a future date?
No, at the moment, it's just postponed until a future date. So we'll just keep on working at it.
Well, we'll hope to see you at top step when you do. Nerine, it's not a Olympic sport. It is Olympic recognized. Is there any word of it becoming an Olympic sport anytime soon?
Hopefully soon. We narrowly missed being included in the 2016 and what is now the 2021 Olympics, which was quite sad. But Wushu has been included in the next Youth Olympics, which is very exciting for some of the younger athletes.
And tell me, obviously, you've been in the sport for a number of years now. You've progressed from the juniors to the seniors. Do you pass on a lot of help to the juniors and give them advice in terms of what it's like to travel abroad, what it's like to compete in international competitions?
I do, and I do assist with coaching quite a few of the junior athletes, which I find it's a really nice thing to do because you get to pass on all that experience. And when you're starting from a place where you know nothing, it's nice to have somebody to look up to who can just give you advice about what's going to happen and how things are going to work.
And from the attire of the picture behind me, it's quite exotically dressed. Is this specific to one country, or all countries are sort of beautifully dressed and perform in such exotic clothing, I suppose is the best word?
Yes, everybody throughout the countries wear these very elaborate, embroidered, sequenced competition suits, males and females, and it just helps to enhance the movements. And yeah.
And Nerine, tell us a bit about Nerine away from Wushu, away from the sport itself. What other things do you do other than have a nice little friendly cat there? What keeps you busy?
So I'm a full-time pharmacy student at Wits. So I'm in my final year now, which keeps me very, very busy. You don't have much else than that. So yeah, I'm busy working towards my degree and hopefully getting into my master's, which should be very exciting.
And in terms of training for wushu, is it every day in terms of going to training? Is it very taxing in terms of physicality, or is it more of a core strength sport?
No, it's definitely taxing, and I do train every single day. It's just a very difficult sport because it's all encompassing. You need to be strong and flexible and fit and have good coordination with and without weapons. So it takes a lot to be a good wushu athlete, and you need to be competent in all these aspects and some.
Oh, I'm sure, absolutely. Nerine, what does the future hold for you, do you believe? Where is it that you would like to go within the sport of wushu?
Well, at the moment, I've been competing in the traditional wushu category, and I'm kind of using that as a stepping stone to get into modern wushu, which is a different format, which is a bit more standardized than traditional wushu. And then hopefully in a few more years, I hope to coach more of the juniors and get into judging and coaching, but that's only far into the future.
So with the traditional wushu, is it a larger audience in terms of participants, or what is the difference between that and what you're doing at the moment?
So traditional wushu does have a wider audience, and it's got a wider variety of styles that are associated with it. In modern wushu, they took aspects of those styles and standardized them. And then it works very similar to like ice skating, where you get a set of requirements and a set of difficulty movements that you need to perform, and then you build a routine around those requirements. So it's just a bit more standardized than the traditional wushu.
Just in closing, obviously since you were 9, you've had a very successful wushu career. Has there been one moment that's been a standout moment for you that you look back and think, jeepers, wow, I can't actually believe I did that?
A few years ago, I got to perform with the Beijing Wushu team at the FOCAC Summit as part of the opening ceremony for the African presidents and the Chinese Prime Minister, which was such an amazing experience. And it kind of boggles me that I had the opportunity to do that. I never thought that I'd ever be able to do something on that scale, which was really, really cool.
And I mean, you just talk about that competing on international stages against or in front of people such as presidential, elects or whatever you would like to call them. Has there been someone that's influenced your career? Because obviously with wushu in South Africa, it's not exactly the most well-known sport. So there's obviously limited amount of people that do it. So therefore limited amount of people for you to look up to. Has there been someone in South Africa itself or internationally that's been a role model for you?
Definitely. I obviously have international role models, but locally, my coach, Jurgen Slambrecht, who was a world champion himself, has been a huge influence on my wushu career. And at the moment, he is the president of the South African Wushu Federation. So we were very lucky when we decided, that's where we wanted to train. We chose such an amazing coach to train with who had so much experience of wushu outside the country that it really created a perfect stepping stone to a wushu career.
Well, Nerine, we wish you all the best in your future wushu career. We wish you all the best at the World Champs whenever they may happen. And hopefully you'll be bringing back a couple of golds.
I'm hoping so, training towards it.
Good luck and lovely to chat to you today on Sport SA Daily Diary. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yes, bye-bye. Look out for tomorrow's episode of Sport SA Daily Diary. We reach out to a young woman from an exceptionally talented family, and now she's making her own name.